our lesson gonna talk about vectors. Oh. Okay. Sure, our homework, guys, we will check it, inshallah, at the end of the day and in the last period. So I will tell you also, guys, again about the numbers of our homework questions, and I will let you to do it and to do on tomorrow. No problem. To do on tomorrow. برجع تاني أحدد لكم النمبر of questions and I will ask you about this question, this homework tomorrow, inshallah. Let's start by vectors. Vectors, and as you see, the vectors you studied in the physics. So quickly, what is the directed line? What's the directed line? It's a line segment. Yes. Yes. To which a direction has been assigned is called the directed line. And it has an initial point which is P and the terminal point, and the ended point which is Q. Okay. And we can write it as the ray. Directed line, it's like a ray. It's like what? A ray. What's the directed line we have in figure 6.48? It's PQ. The magnitude of the directed line is called here like magnitude of PQ, and it's a length, yeah. Okay, it's a length magnitude here for this directed line, which is called what? It's a length. And as you see, guys, we can denote this as like the absolute value here. And we have, it's the distance from point P to the point Q. It's the distance from point P to point Q. Okay, and then, yeah. This is called a vector, and because the distance is always non-negative, because always your distance should be positive, so vectors do not have negative magnitude, so always the magnitude is positive. Vectors are often denoted by what? Blood force letters. V, it should be bold face letters, and V capital like this, and it's bold. Vector V has the same magnitude and same direction as PQ, so we can name this PQ. ياخد نفس خصائص الvector. Okay, here is a great question because it's possible for me to write. It's impossible for you, يعني guys, when you write with your hand. So how should I denote a vector? طبعا vector V لو على computerized you write here like this: V bold face and W bold face. On paper you should write it like this: V and arrow. Okay, on the paper you should write it here like this. Okay, let me here open the yes. Yes, so we can write it like this here.
We write it with the V or W, vector V or vector W with the arrow, right?
Yes, arrow like this. V like this.
But there is only arrow right, nothing else. Yeah?
Yes. Nothing else for what? For vectors?
Yeah, I mean the arrow only on the right.
Yeah, like this.
Goes to the right. Okay. Just
presenting vector on what? On paper, magnitude of V نكتبها كده على الكمبيوتر نكتبها كده بإيدينا. Okay. Let's move on to the next what part. Easy here. In this figure below 6.49, we have 4 cases: A, B, C, and D. 4 possible what relationships between vectors V and W. لو عندي 2 vectors V and W in this figure A, our figure at the left, the vectors have equal length, يعني equal magnitude or same magnitude and the same direction. Both are in the same direction and the same distance or same length يعني. So we write V equal W because the vectors have the same magnitude and same direction. Vectors v and w in letter B have the same magnitude but different directions. Different what direction? In a W, not the same direction as V. In letter C, vectors v and w same magnitude, same length يعني but opposite directions. Opposite what direction?
direction.
Oh, okay. In letter D, both of them do not have neither
Same
same,
direction, different magnitudes,
same direction but different magnitudes.
lengths.
What's the difference between a ray and a vector? A ray is a directed light that has only an initial point and extended forever without end in one direction. This is the definition or geometric definition of ray. The ray it has a start point and no end point. يعني goes forever without end in one direction. بس الفيكتور is a directed line برضه بس has both initial برضه عنده initial point initial end.
So Mr. It's a segment but has a direction.
Yes, it is segment but it has a direction. طيب in our lesson محتاجين احنا في الماث الفيكتورز size. بالنسبة للليسن تبعنا هنا showing that two vectors are equal I will state if they are equal or not. So for example بيسألني to show that u equal v يعني where is u؟ هذا u هذا v. Yes.
Yeah. Both.
What's the if they are equal or not? Let me first show you here that so we have to find the magnitude for each one of them and then find what the slope also for each one of them ونشوف if they have the same slope يعني what same magnitude يعني same length same direction. بالنسبة للسلوب نفسه equal. طيب let's do this. أول شيء how to find the magnitude of vector u. Magnitude of vector what u equal the same as the absolute value of a complex number. Magnitude here is what?
Negative 3, negative 3.
Yes, negative 3, negative 3. Yes.
And 0 and 3.
And 0
This
and
the
3.
2 points.
So we can find
make
this
x. Yeah.
Which is x2 minus
x1
whole squared plus distance formula. y2 minus y1 whole squared. So is equal to I have 2 points اللي هو negative 3 negative 3 أنا بتكلم على u بس. And the other point guys here which is 0 and 3. It's the square root. Make it easier for all and please pay attention from the beginning of the lesson.
Negative
x2
and
x1
negative
y1
3 minus.
Here is x2 y2 negative
0. No 0.
Sorry. Okay. Yes. Sorry.
0 minus 0 plus 3.
0 minus 3 means 0 plus 3 all squared and then here plus y2
negative 3 minus 3.
Yes, it's 3 all squared.
3. Yeah.
Equal the square root.
So we'll have 9.
Yes,
plus 6 square equal to 36.
Yes, so the answer is radical
45.
44.
45. Yeah.
45. Okay, and you can simplify it. طب تعال نشوف magnitude of what of the other vector v. طب ال v it has an initial point which is 0 0 and the terminal point which is 3 and 6.
So the second point is 3 and 6. So we start with 6 minus 0, 6. 6 squared and 3 squared. Mister, it will be.
Right. To find the distance quickly will be 6 minus 0 all squared. 6 squared
plus
and
3 square.
3 square equals
and 9 the same radical 45 36 plus 9.
Yes, radical 45. أنا يهمني إن هم
يعني مستر إحنا بس قاعدين نستخدم الديستانس فورمولا.
Yes, distance formula to prove that the two vectors have the same length or the same magnitude. Now, to find the slope, what's the slope of the vector u? The slope of vector u
y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1.
حلو جدا. y2 minus y1 over
x2 minus x1.
which is equal to, I have the points
Uh,
here up for you, for you, the points for you.
3
and
3
for V.
plus 3. 6 over 6 over 3.
Okay, which is 3 plus 3, and 3 minus 30 plus 3 over
0
cancel.
minus 3.
Plus 3 and 6
It will
over
be
3,
2.
which is 2. The slope of V equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 equal,
It will be 6 minus 0
yeah, 6
over
plus
3.
which is
It will be also 2.
also 2. So you will see now, guys, and they have the same magnitude and same what direction. So
So
we
the U
calculate that
equal
they
V.
are equal.
Yeah.
We can say that it's equal. Okay,
Okay.
this is the answer. قال لك في الآخر because U and V are both directed toward upward, right on lines having the same slope too, they have the same direction. So they are equal and عندهم نفس الدايركشن and magnitude. Okay?
Okay.
Any question? This is a
No.
simple one. أديك
It's
check
easy.
point number 1, the same. Check point number 1, the same. So we can answer it. Let me ask Mohammed Kayani. Start Muhammad. To prove that two vectors are equal, we have to work in two steps. Our step is to find their magnitudes. Muhammad Iyad raised hand. Okay, Muhammad Iyad. يلا find the magnitude of U.
the magnitude لازم يكون the same عشان نعرف إذا
What?
الماgnitude إذا طلعوا the same يعني equal magnitude, right?
Yes. So let's find here the distance or the length of U and the length of V by using the distance formula. يعني نمشي step by step زي كده by what? Using distance formula. يلا. You can find it also like this. Can you? Here is the distance is what? 3, and the distance here 1, 2, 3, 4, and here is 4, and here is 3. So sure this one is 5. Can we do it like this, guys? The distance here 1, 2, 3, and here is 1, 2, 3, 4. So here is 4, so أكيد دي 5. So they have the same length, but using the distance formula, the U vector has 2 points. أو yes, pass through 2 points. اللي هم هذه negative 5 and 2 and negative 2 and 6. So when you substitute here by these 2 points, we're gonna get 6 minus 2 all squared plus negative 2 plus 5 all squared. The formula here y2 x2 minus x1 all squared plus y2 minus y1 all squared. So now calculate here by using your calculator. عادي 6 minus 2 is 4 squared is 16. Negative 2 plus 5 is 3, 3 squared is 9, and now it's root 3 by 5, which is 5.
Good.
And magnitude of V equal, أشوف V passes through هتطلع 5 برضه زي ما احنا جبناها هنا. أو أشوف ال V passes through 2 and 2, and the other point, please pay attention or try to solve this question with me using your paper and pencil. تفضلوا. Yes, محمد سباعي.
Yes. Of V. So we have
5 minus
5 minus minus 2 and 5 plus 2.
5 minus 2 all squared plus 6
6
minus 2
plus 6.
all squared. So it's equal to the square root of.
So it will be 3 squared 9 plus 4 squared 16.
So it's gonna be the same 5 root 25, which is
5.
5. So both of them have the same magnitude. Step
Yes.
2. Thank you, Muhammad. Step 2, you can complete. Muhammad, يلا ماشي. Muhammad Faris. To find here the slopes equal.
Yeah, yes, Mr.
What's the slope? Rise over run.
Yes,
I'm gonna rise up 4 over 3, right?
4 over 3, yes.
Okay, this is for U. And what's the slope here? of V. You can find it easily quickly. برضه 4 over
Also
what?
4 over 3.
4 over 3. So they are equal. They are equal. يعني أكتب إن U equal V. U equal V. Why? They have both. أو same. Magnitude and same direction. They have same magnitude and same direction. Easy? Any questions, guys?
No, clear.
Okay. Okay. Now a vector can multiply it by a real number. In this figure 6.52 shows you guys that multiplying a vector by a number like 2, like half, like negative 3 over 2. Okay, لو عملنا multiply by any positive real number except one, change the magnitude of a vector but does not change its direction. Okay, يغير اللينث بتاعه والماجنتيود بتاعه بس ما يغيرش الدايركشن. But if you multiply by a negative number, it changes the direction. Yes. This can be seen by the blue and the green vector, while multiplying by 2 and by half. 2 and half, both of them are positive real numbers, so multiplying the vector v by 2 change the length or the magnitude بتاعه, ومultiply by half بيقل بس. I'm multiplying here by negative what? 3 over 2 v has opposite direction and is 3 over 2 the magnitude of v. Okay, but here twice the magnitude of v, here half the magnitude of v. هنا غير الدايركشن واخذ 3 over 2 من الماgnitude of v. The multiplication of a real number k and the vector v is called the scalar multiplication. It's called what? Scalar multiplication, and we write it as kv. تعمل multiply عادي. And here is the rule. Same direction when k positive, different direction when k negative or less than 0. Okay, you have to take the absolute value of k عشان تبقى عارف. Okay, يلا. Here is a geometric method for finding two vectors. The sum of the resultant vectors, guys, u plus v. If I have v and u, you can find u plus v, and we will see, guys. أول شيء, the sum of u and v denoted by u plus v is called resultant vector. Number one, position of u and v. So the terminal point of v of u coincides with the initial point of v. The terminal point of u should be coincides مع initial point of v. The resultant vector u plus v extends from the initial point u to the terminal point v. Okay. v minus u is v minus equal v and then plus minus u. Okay, and the change هنا بس ال a minus. أنا كده كمان multiply by negative 1. Okay. The I and the j unit vectors. The I, which is coincides with the x-axis, and the j, which is coincides with the y-axis. So vector I is the unit vector whose direction is along the positive x-axis, and j is the unit vector whose direction is along the positive part of the y-axis. Okay? Representing vectors in rectangular coordinates. The anti-vectors easy here, guys. كمان سهل، بس هنروح نعمل exercises المفروض الأول، بس يلا. خلينا ناخد الفورمولا دي ونكمل exercises. Vector v from 0, 0 to a and b. هنا vector v can be written as ai plus bj. Okay.
Okay.
ai plus bj. ai plus bj. I know that you studied this all in physics. Okay. The real numbers a and b is known scalar multiplication or scalar what components of v. A horizontal component will B vertical component of V, and AI plus BJ is called the linear combination of vectors I and J, and the magnitude is the square root of A squared plus B squared. The magnitude is A squared in this case plus B squared, the same as the absolute value of any complex number in the polar form. How to sketch the vector v equals negative 3 plus 4j, negative 3i plus 4j. In example 2, you just move 3 units left and 4 units up. من 0 0 تنطلق 3 units left and move up 4 units. يبقى the same as plotting the complex number in the coordinate plane.
So what is the ing? I didn't understand.
Unit هذا I is the unit vector. I is the unit vector على الاكس اكسس positive
Okay.
x axis والجي unit vector. It's here. The unit vector whose direction is along the positive y-axis. So to sketch it's easy. كنا بنطلع عند negative 3 و 4 وplot point and then connect تعمل arrow وخلاص. But to find its magnitude, so it's simple. The magnitude of v equals what? The square root of negative 3 squared plus 4 what squared. That's it. اللي هي a squared plus b squared. And your answer will be 9 plus 16, which is root
9
25
plus 200 equal 5.
equals to 5, and thank you. Question asking you to plot and find the magnitude. Any question? Here is sketching v equals negative 3i plus 4j. يعني كأنك تعمل عادي sketching in negative 3 and 4, plot the points and find the magnitude square root of negative 3 squared plus 4 squared. Okay, here's a great question that the same vector negative 3i plus 4j is it okay if I write the magnitude of v as مع ال I يعني اخذ ال
لا
I معايا
غلط.
the vector I and j are not included when determining the magnitude. يعني اشتغل عليها numbers بس ما تحطهاش معايا في الروت. Let's here sketch the graph of this vector and then find its magnitude. Yes.
3 negative 3. It will be.
Yes, so the point here I have 3 and negative 3. So I will move then 3, 1, 2, 3, and the negative 3. 2, أهي. حلو. بعدين from 0, 0, you can do
A line.
arrow like this,
Yes.
وخلاص directed line. And name it V. Okay. To find its magnitude, so simple here. It's what? The square root of 3
Square root of 3 squared plus negative 3 squared.
squared equal the square root and the
9
3
plus
squared.
9.
9 plus 9 equals root
18.
18. Root 18. Any questions, guys? نادر عبد الستار. نادر.
Yes, mister.
Wake up, mister. وبعدها نشأت.
What, mister?
Understood? Do you have any question?
Oh,
ماشي
no.
الحال؟
It's easy, mister. Yeah.
Easy, right? طيب. Do you have any questions يا شباب؟ زياد محمد صلاح.
No, no.
Wake up. شايفك. You're sleeping.
والله صح يا مستر.
شربت قهوة؟ Okay. Easy, right? Alhamdulillah, no easy. طيب, now represent the vectors in rectangular coordinates. When I have a vector, initial is x1, y1, and the terminal point x2, y2. You know that this delta x, the difference between x1 and x2. Because here x1 and here x2. And like مثلا هنا 3 and here it's 1 مثلا. To find the distance between the x's of delta x, you subtract 3 minus 1 gives you 2, and the delta y, y2 minus y1 like the slope. So to write here the vector in the rectangular coordinates, p1 equals x1, okay? We write the v equals x2 minus x1i plus y2 minus y1j. This is all, no need. We will use it, guys. Only here, you will let v equal the vector from the initial point, negative 3 and negative 1, and the terminal point, negative 2 and 5. Write v in terms of I and j, and rectangular coordinates. So simply I will write v equals من الفورمula x2 minus x1 I plus
y2 minus y1j.
بس y2 minus
Negative
y1
2 minus 3i plus 5 minus negative 1j.
yes, that's it. Negative 2 minus 3i and then plus 5
5 9
minus
minus 1.
1 j okay, equal negative 5 I and then
Plus
plus
6j.
6g تقدر تسميها نيجاتيف 5i بلس 6g. كده خلصنا. ايزي، سهل جدا يا شباب. يبقى بس نيجاتيف 5i بلس 6g.
بس دقيقة بس دقيقة.
يس زياد. يس.
Only we want to write. Okay, I'm done. No.
Okay. طيب check point number 3. Yes, Mr. Omar. Omar Hammam. Mr. Omar Hammam. Please check the quantity number 3. وبدأ نشأ. وبدأ نشأت. وبدأ.
Yes.
يلا solve. Check point number 3. Let V be the vector from the initial point to the terminal point 2 and 7. Write V in terms of I and J in rectangular what coordinates. يلا. Here's the rule. I plus J. Substitute your rays. Yes. You have 2 points in here, 1 3 and the other point 2 7. Pin x1.
7. لا. Yes. 7 2 minus plus 1
Yes.
I plus 7 minus 3
J. طيب 2 plus 1
I
is
J equal 3I plus 4G J.
okay. Thank you. Take point number 3. Easy? Yes, when it's easy. طيب. Let's move on, guys, to the next idea in this lesson. Operations of vectors in I and J, in terms of I and J. When we have two vectors, the first vector
Can you
is...
go back 1 minute?
Okay. Okay. خلاص. Yeah, operations with what? Vectors, operations and plus or minus. طيب, when I have two vectors, V equals A1I plus B1J and another vector A2I plus B2J. Then the sum and the difference between two vectors. The plus, how to make plus between two vectors? Pay attention. You just add A1 and A2, I plus B1 plus B2I, J, and the subtraction the same, A1 minus A2 with B1 minus B2. You got it? You got the idea here, guys? We just subtract A1 minus A2 and B1 minus B2. أو add. For example, yes, if V equals 5I plus 4J, and the W equals 6i minus 9j. Find each of the following vectors. Ziad Muhammad, letter A. V plus W first, يعني the summation of the sum of these two what? Vectors.
5i plus 4j.
Yes,
هلا نجمع الفيكتورز
plus yes, add them, add.
plus 6i minus 9j.
Yes, when we add them, we just add the 5
11i
6,
minus 5j.
yes, and the 4 with the 9. So simply we have 11i
11i minus 5j.
minus 5.
Minus 5j.
Excellent. Thank you. Easy, right?
Thank you.
تعالوا يا شباب ناخد مين؟
اه
مشارك معنا في هذه الحلقة الأخ يلا محمد، خلينا ناخد طلال دباغ فليتقدم.
يلا V minus W مصر فتصير 5 V minus W equals to 5 plus minus 6 I 5 minus 6 I
The same as here, but let's
yes.
find the first the same 5i plus 4j. I would like to make
Okay.
it harder, yeah, it's no question mark. And then minus the other one,
6i
which is 6i minus
9
9j.
5i minus 6
5 minus 6 is what?
minus 1
Minus 1i, so it's minus I, the right one.
and 4j plus 9
4j plus 9, which is
13j
4j مع negative 9, it's gonna be positive, so it's a 13j. Yes, it's a very hard question. Okay guys, you have to concentrate and study it for 3 hours. Easy, right? في عند حد أي question أي comment أي شيء؟ Any questions؟ يوسف يزن، يوسف شمسان، يوسف تامر يزن.
No, Mr. Thank you. It's very easy.
نواف.
No, Mr. It's easy.
الحمد لله.
No, Mr. Thank you.
Okay, so who can solve the second question? طبعا check point number 4 would be the same idea. نواف محمد.
Mr. هو
Yes.
لا ما فيش.
طب
طب مستر ممكن أحل؟
يلا مستر.
Okay. V plus W, we add the I and we add the J coordinates.
طيب add directly, add 7.
11I minus 2J.
Minus 2J. Thank you. نواف ظهر.
Can I solve B, Mr.?
I'd like to solve B. Okay, I'm Khalid. Yeah. V minus when the period is finished.
V minus W equals 7i minus 3i
أيوة 7. Just subtract
minus
7
4i
4 gives what?
3i.
Yes, and 3j.
Oh, 3j minus plus 8j.
That's it. كده احنا added or subtracted the vectors in terms of I and j. Thank you يا شباب, and I will meet you إن شاء الله the last period.
Welcome, Mr.
I hope you understand all, okay, because we will start guys completing this lesson. ناخد exercises. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you, Mr.